Vex wasn't like other Lumerian skypups. Where the others in his litter had 6 perfectly functional legs, Vex had only 5, his front right limb ending in a small, undeveloped paw that couldn't support his weight. While his littermates developed the characteristic bioluminescent patterns that glowed bright azure along their spines, Vex's lights flickered weakly, more of a pale turquoise than the vibrant blue prized by Lumerian breeders. Defective, the breeder had declared with a dismissive wave of her tendrils. It won't survive to maturity and certainly won't fetch any price at market. And so, one cold evening under the 3 moons of Lumeria, the breeder's assistant carried Vex to the outskirts of New Harmony, the first joint Lumerian-human settlement on the planet, and left him near the waste processing facility. It was considered a mercy. The warmth from the recycling units would keep him comfortable until nature took its course. The skypup huddled against the metal wall, his thin membrane wings wrapped tightly around his body for warmth. His natural levitation abilities weren't yet developed, so he couldn't float more than a few inches off the ground, not high enough to escape the curious rodent-like creatures that sniffed around the facility at night. Vex whimpered, the sound a melodic, oscillating hum that rose and fell in pitch. That's when Zara heard him. Zara Chen, age 12, was the daughter of Dr. Maya Chen, one of the human xenobiologists stationed at New Harmony. Zara had been exploring the settlement perimeter against colony regulations when she detected the strange musical whimpering. "Hello?" she called softly. Following the sound, her headlamp cut through the twilight darkness, eventually illuminating a small, trembling form. "Oh!" The creature before her looked like a cross between a puppy, a fox, and a butterfly. It had a slender, canine-like body covered in short, downy fur that shifted colors slightly as it moved. Small, semi-transparent wings, 4 of them lay folded against its back. Its most striking feature was the large, expressive eyes that took up nearly half its face, with vertical pupils that widened when her light found them. "You're a skypup," Zara whispered, recognizing the species from her mother's research. She knelt down slowly. "What are you doing out here all alone?" The skypup's attempt to scramble away revealed its malformed front leg, and Zara immediately understood. Her heart clenched with anger and sadness. She knew the Lumerians sometimes abandoned runts or imperfect offspring, a practice that had created significant tension between human and Lumerian ethicists. "It's okay," she said gently, pulling off her jacket. "I'm not going to hurt you." Moving slowly, she wrapped the trembling creature in her jacket and lifted it carefully. The skypup's body was surprisingly light, evolved for flight once it matured, and it felt almost weightless in her arms. After an initial struggle, the creature seemed to sense her intentions and relax slightly, its breathing still rapid but less panicked. "I'm taking you home," Zara told it firmly. "Mom will know what to do." "Absolutely not, Zara," Dr. Chen exclaimed when her daughter burst into their habitat unit with the bundle in her arms. "You know the protocols about interfering with native fauna." "He's not wild fauna, Mom," Zara protested, carefully unwrapping the skypup on their kitchen table. "He's a domestic skypup. Someone abandoned him because of his leg and his lights." Dr. Chen's expression softened as she leaned in to examine the creature, her scientific curiosity engaging. The skypup watched her warily, its color-shifting fur now taking on the same white tones as their kitchen cabinets, a camouflage response. "He's adapting to our environment," she murmured, reaching for her tablet to take notes. "Remarkable chromatic response considering his age. And look," she pointed to the faint patterns along its spine. "He's trying to produce bioluminescence, but there seems to be a mutation in his photophore development. Can we help him?" Zara asked, gently stroking the skypup's head. To her delight, the creature leaned into her touch and made a sound like wind chimes. Dr. Chen's professional resolve wavered. "This is highly irregular, Zara. If we treat him, We should really return him to Lumerian authorities. So they can abandon him again? Or worse? Zara's eyes filled with tears. Please, Mom. You always say science should serve life, not the other way around. Dr. Chen sighed, recognizing her own words used against her. After a long moment, she nodded. We'll stabilize him tonight. Tomorrow, I'll speak with the colony director. This has diplomatic implications, Zara. I can't promise anything. That night, Vex, as Zara had already named him, slept on a heating pad in a makeshift nest beside Zara's bed. Dr. Chen had treated his malnutrition with a specially formulated nutrient solution and had fashioned a small brace for his underdeveloped leg. By morning, the Skypup's colors had shifted to match Zara's bedspread, a cheerful yellow with blue accents. More surprisingly, the bioluminescent patterns along his spine were glowing a bit stronger, pulsing gently in rhythm with his breathing. Word of the rescued Skypup spread quickly through the human section of New Harmony. Within days, Vex had become something of a colony mascot. Dr. Mitchell from engineering designed a more advanced prosthetic for his weak leg. Dr. Okafor from xenobotany discovered that a native flower extract could strengthen his bioluminescent patterns when added to his diet. The Lumerian response was more complicated. The colony's Lumerian liaison, Senior Atmospheric Coordinator, Thelixia, visited 1 week after Vex's rescue. This intervention is unexpected, she commented, watching Vex hover a full meter off the ground, his new prosthetic allowing him better balance in flight. His bioluminescent patterns now glowed almost as brightly as a normal Skypup's, though they remained uniquely turquoise rather than azure. He needed help, Zara said defensively, standing protectively near her new companion. Thelixia's head tendrils waved thoughtfully. Yes, and that is what perplexes us. This specimen would not survive in our breeding programs, yet it thrives under your care. He, Dr. Chen corrected gently. Not it. We've found that Vex responds to personhood. His cognitive scans indicate intelligence comparable to Earth canines, possibly higher. And he's not a specimen, Zara added. He's my friend. Thelixia's compound eyes blinked in sequence, the Lumerian equivalent of surprise. Friend, she repeated, as if testing an unfamiliar concept. You form emotional attachments to other species. It's kind of our thing, Dr. Chen said with a small smile. Over the following months, Vex became the unexpected bridge between the human and Lumerian communities. His case prompted the Colony Council to establish the Interspecies Welfare Committee, with Dr. Chen as its human chair, and, surprisingly, Thelixia volunteering as its Lumerian representative. More significantly, a small but growing number of Lumerians began to reconsider their traditional practices regarding imperfect offspring. 6 months after Vex's rescue, a Lumerian atmospheric engineer named Xylith approached the Chen habitat with a tiny Skypup with malformed wings. I was told, Xylith said hesitantly, head tendrils quivering with uncertainty, that humans might know how to help this one survive. Zara looked at the small creature, then at Vex, who was now floating effortlessly at shoulder height, his turquoise lights pulsing with curiosity at the visitor. We do, she said confidently, opening the door wider. Come in. 2 years later, the New Harmony settlement celebrated the opening of the Interspecies Rehabilitation Center, a joint human-Lumerian facility dedicated to helping creatures that traditional Lumerian practices would have discarded. At the entrance stood a life-sized hologram of Vex, now fully grown, his once weak legs supported by the latest generation of prosthetics, his unique turquoise lights glowing brilliantly. Beside the hologram, a plaque displayed text in both English and Lumerian script. Different does not mean less. Where one world ends, another begins. Vex himself attended the ceremony, floating serenely beside Zara, now 14, and determined to follow in her mother's footsteps as a xenobiologist. He no longer needed to stay close to humans. For protection, he had grown into a confident, capable skypup with a distinctive flying style adapted to his unique physiology. Yet he chose to stay with Zara, returning each night to sleep beside her bed, his bioluminescent patterns synchronizing with her breathing as they both drifted to sleep. "Why does it stay with you?" a newly arrived human scientist once asked Zara. "It doesn't need you anymore." Zara smiled, watching Vex perform aerial acrobatics with a group of younger rehabilitated skypups, his prosthetic leg gleaming in the afternoon sunlight. "Need isn't the only reason to stay together," she replied, as Vex looped joyfully through the air and came to rest gently on her shoulder, nuzzling her cheek with his color-shifting muzzle. "Sometimes you stay because you've found where you belong."